after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host. I am Stephne Hockenhull. Joining me is my co-host, Gene Williams, my son.
Hello there.
I might. Yeah, we are excited to be doing this show for you today. Gene, are you looking for to share? Would you do that while I
can do it.
Because I couldn't find it, so I'll look for it in a minute. So we have been talking about, well, first of all, thank you for being here. We ask you, if you are here, to share your Facebook pages or YouTube. Beverly got it from YouTube, so I'm going to share it from there.
It's on your page.
Oh, it is on my personal page or the business page?
Personal page.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are here to talk about the business page. We are here to talk about bullying versus love and how people have misunderstood love when they bully. So we talk about that, and everything that we talk about, we talk about that. Some people don't understand that they have been bullied, which I didn't understand that for many years, that was my experience. So now that we understand that, Gene and I have both been bullied a lot, and now that we understand that, thanks for sharing your page, Gene. So now that we understand, hey sis. So and thanks for sharing your page, Bev. So we're excited to be able to share information with you to help you understand your experience, because a lot of people don't know that they are being bullied, which for many years I didn't know that was my experience. So we are happy to be bringing information to you. Last week, we talked about emotional intelligence. Today, we are going to finish up talking about emotional intelligence, and we're going to be talking about emotions. So, again, we're Gene is singing. What song are you singing? I'm thinking Best of My Love.
Emotions taking me out.
Oh, you're singing another song. Yeah. Okay, so y'all, we like to clown. That's just what we do. We enjoy life now.
Yeah, now.
All of that bullying made us not enjoy life at all.
Yeah.
At all.
I want to say something. My therapist, she says often when I tell her I'm happy for her, because, you know, my therapist and I'm always having too much fun. But she was like, you know, she's making a concerted effort now to be happy. And every time I tell her I'm happy to see you happy, she's like, you know, I enjoy it, but it's work. It's conscious, consistent work to be happy. You know, it's easy to give away your energy to people who don't appreciate or respect your time. You know, it's easy, especially when you are a person who's empathic. You know, you always want to give.
Yep.
And, you know, it's a beautiful thing, but some people don't respect it. They see it as a weakness.
Right.
Which is why they bully.
Yep. So, man, it feels good to be happy. I just have to say that again. It just feels so good. So great. And I said like that because I just experienced something big. And it's a heart matter, you know, getting my heart right and keeping my heart right. That's work. You got to do work to keep your heart right. So like she said, to be happy, it's work.
Yep.
You know, so you gotta see those emotions, acknowledge those emotions, confess that they're a real thing, and then okay, decide: do I want to be here or do I want to be somewhere
Right.
else?
Right.
If I'm sad, do I want to be here or do I want to something else?
Right.
Do I want, for example, to be happy? If I want to be happy, then I have to get it together.
Yeah,
And
steps to take then. Okay, so I have to, like you said, you have to acknowledge that you are unhappy first.
yes,
Is the issue. And
yep,
then you put together the steps to get you from where you are to where you want to be.
right,
Journey, like again, my therapist said, it's work. It's hard
yep,
work to be
yep,
consciously happy.
yep.
You know, emotions always come up, and it could be some random stuff you get triggered by.
That's
But
true.
it's funny because what we're talking about, emotional intelligence, is that awareness, that self-awareness that, you know, I'm feeling a certain emotion and allowing yourself to be there with it, you know,
Yes,
to ground yourself in the fact that I feel this at this moment, but all things are transitory. Like you tell me all the time, everything has a season.
yes,
Everything that everything that has a beginning has an end.
yes,
So
absolutely.
here and you move on, but you have to make a conscious decision to see the end point and
Yep,
then take those steps to get you there.
yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good. Um, shouldn't have did that on this one. Um, so let's get started about emotional intelligence. In order to see what our discussion and hear what we talked about last week, go back to last week's show.
Well, if you say what to the
Go back to go back to last week's show and tune in there, check it out, and then add this one to that collection. So emotional intelligence. Gene, I'll let you go ahead and start, unless you want to add something else.
No, I'm good. Talking about trash. Now let's get to the meat and gravy, the meat and potatoes, baby. There we go. What Mark said.
Oh,
that needs to be a chorus in one of my songs. To the left, to the left. All right. So emotional intelligence, or EI or EQ for emotional quotient, refers to the ability to identify and manage one's own emotions as well as the emotions of others, to perceive, interpret, demonstrate, control, evaluate, and use emotions to communicate with and relate to others effectively and constructively. Yeah. And again, just so everything we said before that led into this. You got it? All right.
so just remember, because throughout this discussion, we're going to just be saying EI and EQ, or EI/EQ, which they're, again, to remind you, he just read it: emotional intelligence or emotional quotient. So just remember, when we say that, that's what we're talking about.
You did. All right. You want me to go?
Yeah, unless you want me to. Okay, go ahead, please.
All right. So 7 signs of a strong EI or EQ. First is getting along well with and having interest in others. High EQ or IE individuals have the ability to be active listeners and truly be curious about others. They're often as comfortable talking with strangers as they are with friends, and are adept at reading people, i.e., taking cues from body language, facial expressions, etc. So you ever been around someone that you just, for whatever reason, you feel some kind of kinship towards immediately? You want to tell them your life story. That's a person with high emotional intelligence and high emotional quotient.
Okay.
2, self-awareness of strengths and weaknesses. Man, listen. All right. Star performers at work are successful because they know where they excel, and as a result, have strong self-confidence. At the same time, they are not afraid of negative evaluation. since they are in a continuous process of self-improvement, they actually seek out feedback regarding their blind spots and weaknesses. Yeah, and a person with high EQ or high EI, again, is always looking to improve. But they also understand that there's no such thing as perfection.
Yep.
There's always growth. There's always something you could do a little bit better if you just tweak it, just a little bit. You know, you tweak. There's always a part of you that you could do better. You know, I mean, perfection is a lofty and unattainable goal, I would say.
Yep.
And the goal is to always improve and consciously be aware of, you know, your great points and your weaknesses. I mean, look at, you know, I mean, and, you know, rest in peace for Kobe. I mean, the man would shoot one shot 1,000 times every day. One shot. One. So you see when he would fade back and swish, he did that 1,000 times. So it was, you know, it was muscle memory now. He had to think about it. It was just second nature. And that was self-improvement. He consciously went in there and shot those shots 1,000 times. To every time that he shot it, he was better. It was more second nature and intuitive, as opposed to something he had to think about.
Yeah.
You know.
And we can always learn when we feel like we don't, you know, we don't need to know, we already know something. We don't need to know more about it because I understand this thing. Then we've deceived ourselves because we can always learn. There's always something to learn. Always.
Always.
So always be open to learning. And what can I, you know, what can I learn now? What can I get now? Always be open to that. I love to learn.
Same here.
Yeah, because I mean, you get wisdom. That's how you get wisdom about things, by learning.
Right.
So be open to learning.
Yeah. Wisdom is, you know, having an experience, knowing something, and then being able to use it efficiently and effectively.
Yep. So, what happened? Oh, you laughing at me?
I'm keep going. I'm keep going.
Okay. Operating with integrity. A person with strong EI/EQ in this area is highly ethical in business and relationships and takes responsibility for his or her actions. This person is trustworthy and conscientious. We have to we should always be taking responsibility for our own actions. It's not something that we always do, but when we do that, then we're in a more peaceful place and we're not adding pressure and stress to other people's lives because we're taking responsibility for our own actions and we're not blaming others, which is bullying, a form of bullying. So it's important to, you know, in business and in relationships to take responsibility for your own actions.
Right.
So you want to say something?
I was going to say, and that actually promotes self-awareness. When you are aware of or willing to take radical responsibility of your actions, you become a better person. You know, when you're always doing this and pointing the finger at someone else, you can never recognize the fact that Soldier Rose. Really? Yeah. Listen, stop lying. Okay, wow.
Not Caliber in the building. Okay, welcome, Kent. You got my son all excited. Welcome.
That's Soldier Low. I'm Excalibur. Yeah, baby.
Okay, then.
Hey, glad to see you, brother. I've been thinking about you a lot, man. Peace and love. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, taking All right, so taking radical responsibility for where your life is important because that's the only way you can grow. You know, when you're always looking outwardly to blame someone, like, you know, people say the devil made me do it. Well, the devil is the person that you see in the mirror every day. You have to take responsibility for your actions. I mean, let's be honest about it. You put yourself in a position for X, Y, Z to happen, and now you expecting a different result. So, you know, accept that, hey, I put myself here now because I did that. I can make a better choice next time.
Yep. Thank you, Bev. I see you compliment you like my lipstick.
Yeah.
It ain't red like yours, but I just my first. I don't wear this lipstick that much. But thanks for the compliment. Self-awareness and feelings. You want to do that, or you want me to do it?
I can do it. It's fine.
Okay.
All right. Number 4 is self-awareness of feelings. Emotionally intelligent people have self-control when it comes to their feelings, especially anger or frustration. They are able to observe their emotions in a detached manner and pinpoint the reason why they're upset. And that's a lot of work right there. Because the tendency is when you get angry or frustrated, the tendency is to strike out at other people.
Right.
You get frustrated. As opposed to maybe stepping back and be like, dude, why am I so angry right now?
Yep.
It's frustrating me. And then, like be really honest with yourself. Look in the mirror and be like, dude, I'm feeling this. And then you have to, there's levels to that awareness. Like, does this have anything to do with this particular situation or this person or whatever be the case? Am I being present, or am I, fixated with something in my past that's now been triggered by something that just happened that has nothing to do with the situation we're actually dealing with? Like, right. That's the deal. A lot of times our frustrations, our anger come from us trekking back in our minds to things that are no longer transpiring.
Yeah.
There's so much in the past, and we get caught there. It's like a constant hell time loop. I can say the H word. They told me I could. Hell time.
He said hell, Beverly. Yeah. Self-awareness is a big thing, and all that you just explained is a really good explanation because like you said, a lot of times, what we're striking out at somebody about. She said you can say it.
They gave me permission. Remember, they said it now.
But to recognize where you are, just like you said, and that exactly what's happening right now has nothing to do with with what's going on now. But it's the same way with us when we're on the receiving end. We have to remember that from the other person. Right. Are they really angry at me? Or are they angry about something else and they just took it out on me? And we just covered that in the last few weeks. I remember us covering that. But it's so true. So it's not about, what is happening to you, but it's about how is that thing making you feel? How is that action or that reaction from somebody else? I'll just say that action. How is that action from somebody else making you feel? If it's making you feel in a way that you don't want to feel, then you have a choice to make. Do you want to continue to feel that? Because you don't always know. It was just last week, I think, because we were talking about a boss maybe having a flat tire, remember? And then coming in and snapping at you and you not knowing, what the issue is. And, you saying to yourself, this can't be the real issue, and so it's all about communication. That's what we said last week. It's about communicating and saying, hey, what's going on? Instead of assuming something. So let's move on past that. Present focus. You want to do that or you want me to do it? You do it. All right. Present focus. An individual with strong EI/EQ is solution focused, looking for what they can do in the moment to problem solve rather than whine or complain about what's already happened or what's to come. Go ahead and say what you want to say.
We're grown-ups around here, man. We got to be solution oriented.
Yeah.
We'll always be in the muck and mire if we always, almost said a word I can't say. Okay, I'm going to say it the way the old folks say it, hemming and hard. I'm going to say it like that.
Yeah.
Hemming and hard about what you ain't got and what you can't have and da-da-da-da-da. How about being able to step back and look at that situation from a objective standpoint, I think is what it, yeah. From the standpoint of where you're not involved in it anymore, having a healthy detachment from it so that you can see the solution. Because in every problem, there's a solution.
Yeah.
Like even the never mind. Chinese language, they have two words that are opposites, and you put together, and you have solution. I don't remember what they are right now off the top of my head, but you have two words that are in polarity and they're combined to create the symbol for, or the word for, solution. And that's how it goes. You have to be present enough to see both ends of the spectrum and then come back and combine it in a way that gives you the power to solve the issue that's in front of you, because in every problem there's a solution.
That's good. That's good. So the well-balanced or well-placed boundaries. Individuals with high EI/EQ are skilled at assessing what is realistic in terms of the time and energy required for a task or project. They're aware of their limits and they know when to say no. That's very important. In my coaching sessions, I let people know it's okay to say no. Be okay with your no. Don't feel bad about your no. Say no, stick to no, mean no.
Right. Yeah, you can't give from an empty vessel. So you got to honor yourself. And when you're feeling low on energy, low on your magic, pull back and replenish yourself, feed back into you, so that you can give others the blessing of you being at, full mass, or, full energy.
Yeah, that's good. Go ahead to the next part.
All right.
Please.
5 key emotional intelligence skills. First is impact of emotional intelligence. Interest in teaching and learning social and emotional intelligence has grown in recent years. Social and emotional learning, or SEL programs, have become a standard part of curriculum for many schools. The goal of these initiatives is not only to improve health and well-being, but also to help students succeed academically and prevent bullying. There are many examples of how emotional intelligence can play a role in daily life. So one of the first goals is thinking before reacting. Emotionally intelligent people know that emotions can be powerful, but also temporary. When a highly charged emotional event happens, such as becoming angry with a coworker, the emotionally intelligent response would be to take some time before responding. This allows everyone to calm their emotions and think more rationally about all the factors surrounding the argument. Yeah, and that's what mature people do. You don't respond in the heat of anger. When that fire is going on within you, hey, listen, I need to step back and let that thing go down, son, before I burn everything down, before I burn all the bridges.
Right. And something that just came to mind is I think it's called an idiom, that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me.
Right.
That's a lie. We are hurt by words. So I said that because if we don't think before reacting, then we say things that we are sorry about later. But once you say that thing, words have power.
Yes, Lord.
And so words do hurt.
Yep.
And words do negatively impact a person and can affect them emotionally. So we have to be careful with our words. So it's better, like he just read, to think before we react. Don't just say stuff, because you can't take back the words. Once they're out, they're out.
Right.
You can't get them back.
And actually, to be completely honest with you, sticks and stones, they may break your bones, tear muscles, whatever, but they heal over time. Now, emotional damage, creates a lifestyle of emotional damage over time if not dealt with. And we're in this society, how often are we taught, how to deal properly with emotional trauma?
Yeah.
We're not given those tools. I mean, finally now, in this day and age, we're finally getting to the point as a people where we understand, the need for counseling, to be more aware of how you feel. It's all about doing before. Now it's about, okay, now what I'm doing has an emotional charge to it.
Yeah.
We didn't have that education before. So now, thankfully, we have, through the age of Aquarius or the age of information, we have more knowledge on our hands. So we can learn things that we would never had access to in regular schools. Now we have it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing now.
Yep. And something that, and we've said this a number of times on our shows too, that, we have been made to believe that therapy is a bad thing. Especially in the Black, in the African American community. We've been made to believe that, and thankfully things has changed. It's not, as bad as people have made it to be. When we need help, we need help. When we need help, we need to get help. People are dying at the hands of themselves and at the hands of others because of the mental issues. And so we have to get help. And I'm glad that stigma is not there that used to be in the past. So it's not a big thing like it was in the past. So I'm thankful that therapy is available. And what's the number? 988? I think it's 988. So if you have mental issues, 988 is a free number to call, just like the suicide hotline. In fact, it is also the suicide hotline where you can call and you can talk to somebody about your mental issues. It's best if you can get somebody that you trust to talk to, but if not, then just know that it is freely available for you to get help.
Right.
So I just wanted to add that.
Right. And the beautiful thing about this day and age now is that there are more, not just, African Americans, quote unquote, but, therapists of all sorts. So everybody, there's access to therapists who look like you.
Yeah.
And have had a similar life experience as you.
Yep.
So if that's one of the issues, you don't want to be someone who don't look like you. Cool. There are people who look like you who are therapists.
Yep.
The big point is, at the end of the day, is to have the therapy so that you can be completely aware of where you are emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of that good stuff. And in the emotional and mental health, man, the way you deal with people, depending upon your emotional health, is super huge. You have to know where you are, and then that explains how you deal with other people. So if you could be in a good space, then you could be in a good space with other people.
Right. So it's just like you said earlier about feeling yourself. So it's, in this case, it's about you being okay to be able to help somebody else. So you got to be okay first.
Right.
If you're not okay, you can't really help somebody else because you don't have the tools.
Right.
Just like us, for example, being bullied a lot. And now, we have the tools to help us and to get us out of that place. Right. I hear some feedback. Do you hear that?
I don't.
Okay. Anyway, I kind of forgot what I was saying. Because I hear that. Empathy for others. You want to go there, or you want me to do that?
I can do it.
All right.
All right. A large part of emotional intelligence is being able to think about and empathize with how other people are feeling. We said that. This often involves considering how you would respond if you were in the same situation. Again, that's that healthy detachment from emotional situations. This often involves considering how, I said that, I'm sorry. People who have strong emotional intelligence are able to consider the perspectives, experiences, and emotions of other people and use this information to explain why people behave the way that they do. So
out of the stuff that we just said, and I said this on last week's show, and I'm going to mention it again because it's valuable. And that is doing an emotional checkup. How am I feeling?
Right.
How am I thinking? You know, and if that's not the place you want to be, then in your thoughts or, you know, in your emotions, then that means, okay, this is not what I want. This is what I got in my hand. This is not what I want. So I got to let this go to get whatever is better than this. I don't know what this is, but I know I don't want this. So it's about, you know, having faith for something new and hope. And faith is hope, but having hope in something new, something better.
Right. And also putting in the work to get you from, you know, taking those steps. Because, you know, as the Bible says, faith without works is dead.
Yep.
So not only do you have to have the faith, but you got to put that work in too. It's a journey. It's a journey from one step to another. So you're sitting back and, okay, it'll just come to me. No, it's not. It's not. It's not going to come to me. You got to do certain things.
Right.
To get yourself in line with that, the energy, that vibration that you're looking for, that's higher or above the vibration where you are currently. If you want to get here, you got to do some work, baby. You got to do some work.
Yep. Yep. There is something, like basically what you just said. There is something, someone higher than us that we have to, you know, I don't know what this looks like, but I know I don't like what this looks like. Right. So, you know, to get on a higher, like you just said, a higher vibration, can't even think of the word. Just knowing that there's somebody higher than you. It's not just you, you know, so you ain't got to deal with things on your own. You can seek and search for a better thing, to be in a better place emotionally. Right. So how, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, even just like that, the higher vibration of yourself, you know where you are when you're at peace, and you know where you are in chaos. So if you want to raise yourself out of the chaotic feeling, then you have to, again, like you said, envision a higher version of yourself. Where would I be? How would I feel? You know, what does that look like? What does that taste like? What does that smell like?
Yeah.
You know, and then raise yourself to that vibration above the BS, the hell. I said it. The hell that you're in.
Beverly, now that we done gave him permission, he gonna wear that out. Oh my goodness. Ooh, let the dogs out.
I'm sorry, y'all. That was me. Everything was fine.
Oh my goodness. He let the real dogs out. They like, what you barking at, Daddy? Yeah. We got it. All right, while he trying to calm them down, let me move on. Okay. Cognitive empathy versus emotional empathy. How to use emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence can be used in many different ways in your daily life. Some different ways to practice emotional intelligence include being able to accept criticism and responsibility. We're gonna get it, so we might as well prepare to accept it, because it's gonna happen. It's a part of life. Somebody is always ready to criticize you about something. So another way to practice emotional intelligence is being able to move on after making a mistake. We can be our own biggest critic.
Yeah.
And so we have to be willing to accept the fact that, yes, I messed up. Yes, I made a mistake, but I don't have to stay there.
Right.
You want to add something?
Yeah, I was going to say, you acknowledge that you made a mistake, you apologize for it, and then with your actions, you make amends, and you continue that. You continue that consciousness that, hey, I did this wrong, but I'm consciously, every time I deal with whatever situation, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you have the control over that.
So in that mistake can be a mistake you made on your own with nobody else around, or it can be a mistake that you made with somebody else. So we have to be willing and able to forgive ourselves for the mistake, that we made, as well as forgive other people. So be able to move on after making a mistake. So another way to practice emotional intelligence is being able to say no when you need to. We just talked about that, so I'm not gonna elaborate. Another, huh?
I was being James Brown. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh Lord. All right. Another way to practice emotional intelligence includes being able to share your feelings with others. Sometimes that's hard, but we have to be able to trust a person before we're able to share our feelings with them. Because otherwise, we keep our feelings in, which is not good for us, because somewhere inside you internalize that stress, those negative feelings, hurt feelings. And we have to, the healthy way is to be able to talk about it. So if we have to be able to find, it's helpful if we're able to find somebody that we can share our feelings with.
Right.
You want to add something?
Yeah, and so it also kind of touches on being allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Like even in a situation where you don't have necessarily a person that you can like bounce those ideas off of, even in the moment of a situation that needs to be addressed. It's like it's good to be able to be comfortable with being vulnerable and knowing that your vulnerability is a superpower as opposed to a weakness.
Yeah.
That being vulnerable is a weakness, and it's not. In order to have balance, you have to be able to be strong and weak at the same time. That's all.
That's good. So another way to practice emotional intelligence is being able to solve problems in ways that work for everyone. So this life is not just about us. It's about people that we engage with, people that we do life with. And when I say do life, I'm not just talking about an intimate relationship with. I mean, we have seasons where we work with certain people, where we're involved with certain people. We have seasons, reasons, lifetime. We have reasons while we're, while we have relationships with other people. So we have to be able to solve problems in ways that work for all of us. If I have to work with you every day, I may not like something you say or some things you do, for example. And I say work because work is where we spend a lot of time. So I have to be able to get past my feelings, check my emotions. Okay, how am I feeling about this person? How am I thinking about this person? Okay, is this going to benefit our work? Is this going to help us? I have to work with them. So is this going to benefit us both? If not, then I have to push those feelings aside after I check my feelings, my emotions, push that aside, and let's get this work done. Let's get this work.
Come on, man. Get that work, man.
And so then deal with that other later. So that is a way that you are problem solving in a way that works for everyone. So another way, emotional intelligence, to practice emotional intelligence is having empathy for other people. That's so important.
Right. Yeah. And it goes along with doing to others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
Not only something that we see in the Bible, but across religions and cultures, across the world, anything that you put out, I mean, it's a universal law. Anything that you put out, any energy that you put out has an equal and opposite reaction. So anything that you do, trust me, that's going to come back and it's going to echo. Because you put it out now, there's a blast back. You know what I mean? You start a ripple, next thing you know, there's a tsunami. Let's go.
Yep. Another way to practice emotional intelligence is having great listening skills. Oh, we stop talking so much and listen. You got 2 of these and 1 of these for a reason. Learn to receive and not always transmit.
Hey,
I'm just saying. I got that from Chris.
He wasn't lying. Everything he said, no lies detected.
Okay, another way to practice emotional intelligence is knowing what you do, knowing why you do the things you do. Right. Why do I do this? Right. Why do I get mad every time this person say this or say that? Or why do I get mad every time this person do this or do that? Right. Yeah. That's just an example. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and a lot of our, if we think about it, a lot of our habits and a lot of our characteristics are built from creating defense mechanisms to protect ourselves from things that transpired in our past. So we have to be, again, aware of why certain things trigger you, you know, or why you even have certain characteristics. A lot of people who are aggressive is because when they were younger, they didn't feel like they had. You know, so now they're in a position of power and they want to flex it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But can you step back and be cognizant of the fact that that's why you are how you are at this day and age?
Yeah.
Like, why does this make me angry and make me want to fight somebody? And you know, there's a reason for it. There's underlying the anger and the action is just a symptom of the disease.
Yep.
That which leaves you unbalanced.
Yep. So I was having a conversation earlier today. And so in that conversation, I was saying, you know, my earbuds keep trying to come out. Stay in there. So I was having a conversation earlier about, you know, things that come up from your past. They come up for a reason. Right. They come up for you to deal with them and not just be like, oh, well, that's how I used to be, or, oh, that's how I used to think. I don't do this no more. So you're in denial. Mark. So you're in denial about what has actually taken place.
Right.
So Mark, I had to stop reading. Stop, because I got off. That things come up for a reason. So when we push it aside and say, you know, make excuses for why this thing came up, it's going to lay down for a little while, then it's going to come back up. So it's going to die for a little bit, then it's going to resurrect again until you deal with the issue, whatever that issue is. Yeah. Whatever the issue is. Go ahead.
It's like a flower, so like a seed of sorts.
Yeah.
You know, you can, you know, it buds, starts to bud, and you put more dirt over it. Don't you think it's going to keep digging through the dirt? I mean, that's the nature. Yep. You know, you put it in the dark, under the dirt, and it continues to seek the sun, light. So everything that happens in the darkness will be brought to the light. So just deal with it where it is what it is, and make that thing that was supposed to be negative part of the lessons to make you better.
Yes.
Self-awareness. We have to be aware of where we are and not hide from our shadows.
Yep.
You have to embrace not only the light, which is the pretty thing, but the darkness that keeps you feeling uneven, unbalanced, unfocused, and then merge them together in a way that brings you balance so that you can be the highest version of yourself. Because if you're on one extreme or the next, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's only when you come together, you merge two sides, two polar opposites of the same energy, and you put them together, then you have the highest power. That's like having a battery. You got to have the positive and the negative for it to work. Yeah. Without both sides, there is no power from that battery, and everything is energy.
Yeah.
Everything is a battery. So you balance it out, then you have more power than you do when you're polarized.
That's good. So one of the things that I've learned lately is, and I was talking about this in the conversation earlier, that when things come up and you're like, man, I haven't thought about that in a long time. If you don't say, why is this happening? Why am I thinking about this? What am I supposed to do with this? And you deal with it at that time. Why is this coming back up? What do I need to learn from this? What's the reason for this?
Right.
If you ask those questions, or at least one of those questions, you're going to find out what is in your heart.
Right.
Because even if you are a child and something happened and it comes back to your remembrance, it's coming back to your remembrance to deal with that issue right then.
Yep.
If you make excuses for it, like I said a little bit ago, if you make excuses for it or be in denial about, it actually still hurting, it'll go away for a while and then it's going to come back. So I'm learning, the whole reason I brought it up again is that I have been learning how to, when something, and this has just been in the last month because of something really big that came into my life that I was saying out of my mouth that I could not believe I was saying. I've learned simultaneously when something comes up from the past to ask the questions. What is this for? Why is this coming back up? And to deal with it simultaneously and to humble myself and say, okay, yeah, that did hurt. Yeah, that did negatively affect me. Yeah, admit the pain from the thing.
Right.
And then you can move on from that. You can learn from that and you can move on from that. And it can die forever and not ever come back up. So I just wanted to say that because if you do that simultaneously, you'll be in a whole lot better place, peaceful place in your mind. Otherwise, you're going to constantly be in turmoil because it'll die down for a little bit. And that was a good example of a plant that you just gave. It made me think of when, living on the Air Force base, when men, dang it, I can't think of his name, Ronnie. We would go and rent the lawnmower from on base, and then whoever rented it, like if he rented it, then he would bring it to me after he got done so I could cut the yard, or I would rent it and then I would give it to him. So, we were sharing the lawnmower. And so Kim and I, his wife, we said, we run over, cut the grass, the dandelions lay down. Just for us to cut the grass, and then the next morning they be back up standing straight up. Good morning. So if you don't deal with stuff, it'll lay down for a while, then it's gonna come back up, just like you talked about the flower. But that's what that made me think of. So we got to deal with issues right when they come up, or they gonna continue to come up, and it might be 10 years later. Dang, I hadn't thought about that for 10 years. Well, you didn't deal with it 10 years ago, so that's why it's back again.
Right.
So, and I love this place that I'm in, being able to deal with the hurt and the pain, humbling myself, saying, okay, like I said, it did affect me negatively, or it did hurt. Now I want to deal with it. I don't want what I got in my hand. I don't want that. So I got to open my hand and say, okay, what's good for me, because this ain't
right.
That's good stuff. I feel like I just took y'all to church.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
Not church. Okay, so all right, so go to the next part unless you want to add something. Mark said it is Sunday after all. Preach on.
Preach holiness, Bishop. All right. So we are going to define emotions. So emotions are defined as a complex reaction pattern involving experiential.
You missed something. You missed emotional intelligence right after the the list of emotional intelligence?
That part right there. All right, I got you.
All right, country.
All right. Emotional intelligence is essential for good interpersonal communication. Some experts believe that this ability is more important in determining life success than IQ alone. Factuals. It's like having street knowledge and book knowledge. You kind of need both to be super successful.
Yep.
And without the other is only half good. Yeah, Mark. All right. Fortunately, there are things that you can do to strengthen your own social and emotional intelligence. Understanding emotions can be the key to better relationships, improved well-being, and stronger communication skills.
That's the part I wanted you to get to.
I feel it much. All right, so again, we're going to define emotions. Emotions are defined as a complex reaction pattern involving experiential, behavioral, and psychological elements. Emotions are how individuals deal with matters or situations that they find personally significant. Okay. Emotional experiences have three components: a subjective experience, a psychological response, and a behavioral or expressive response. Feelings arise from an emotional experience. A feeling is a result of an emotion or energy in motion. So emotions are energy. And push forward. Okay. And feelings arise from an emotional experience. A feeling is a result of an emotion and may be influenced by memories, beliefs, and other factors.
Let's get deep into it.
Let's dig in. a lot of our, and going back to what you said about knowing why you do what you do. Again, this is uncovering, things that you did, that you pushed aside.
Yes.
Moving forward, as opposed to processing. So
yes.
You can experience life and emotions in a more masterful way, as opposed to being subject to those emotions.
Yep. That's good. That's good.
All right. No, stop. All right. The process of emotion. While there is a debate about sequence, there is general agreement that emotions are made up of three. I said that already. No.
The process of emotions.
I'm sorry. Subjective experiences, psychological responses, and behavioral responses. Let's look at each of these parts in more detail. So, subjective experiences. All emotions begin with a subjective experience, also referred to as a stimulus. But what does that mean? While basic emotions are expressed by all individuals, regardless of culture or upbringing, the experience that produces them can be highly subjective. Subjective experiences can range from something as simple as seeing a color to something as major as losing a loved one or getting married. No matter how intense the experience is, it can provoke many emotions in a single individual, and the emotions each individual feels may be different. For example, one person may feel angry and regret at loss of a loved one, while another may experience intense sadness. Psychological responses. We all know how it feels to have our heart beat fast with fear. This psychological response is a result of autonomic nervous system's reaction to the emotion we're experiencing. The autonomic nervous system controls our involuntary bodily responses and regulates our fight or flight response. According to many psychologists, our psychological responses are likely how emotion helps us evolve and survive as humans throughout history. Interestingly, studies have shown autonomic psychological responses are strongest when a person's facial expressions most clearly resemble the expression of the emotion they are experiencing. In other words, facial expressions play an important part in responding accordingly to an emotion in a physical sense.
So I want to add something to that, and we'll get into this more later, but the facial expressions play an important role in responding accordingly. So there is a universal there are universal facial expressions, and some of them are similar. So like when you're happy and when you're sad, or not, or shocked. When you're happy and when you're shocked, some of those, it's like, kind of like that. But so let me just stick to the point. So facial expressions are universal. So like some of the same facial expressions we have in the United States, they may have in Great Britain, for example, or in another country. So that facial experience is understood. So if it's happy, then that facial experience is also the same. If somebody do that from Great Britain, it's the same. So we're like, oh, they're happy, so just by the facial expressions. We'll get into that more later. So let's start here or next week at the next part. So just from today's show, what do you have to say to the audience?
So again, I just want to recap on what we talked about. Like, I think it's really important for us to be aware of what we are feeling. Like, be truthfully aware and not hide from it, so that you can bring those emotions into the light to be transmuted into a tool as opposed to something that works against you. And a lot of times when you hide from your emotions, like you said, you put them in the dark and they come out. It's like a horror movie. It's like having a box and there's a spirit inside of it. You got the box closed. You put it away in the dark, and then somehow another gets open because you didn't deal with it and process it in the beginning. So you have to, like you said, be cognizant of where you are and what things you have to process, and then be vigilant about taking care of it. Don't push it to the side. Don't bury it, because it only comes up worse.
Yes.
It weeds. You know what I mean? If you don't put some kind of weed killer on them things will come back stronger and more.
Yeah.
Dude, I just was out here yesterday picking weeds, and now there's, it took over everything. Now all I got is weeds.
That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. So, and what I want to say is that to remember to check your emotions. How am I feeling about this thing? How am I thinking about this thing? Whatever this thing is. And do what is best. Respond accordingly and do what is best to make the outcome good. If, like I said about, saying words, watch what you say, because words do hurt. Words cause wounds. And so we have to be aware of what we're feeling. Why am I saying this to them? Or why am I acting this way towards them? Check yourself. Check yourself. Check your emotions. Check your emotions and why you're feeling that way, and respond accordingly in a helpful way, in a productive way, in a way that will be
constructive as opposed to destructive.
Thank you. See, my son got me, y'all. I love this.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, y'all. We're at the end of our show. We thank you for joining our show today. We are going to be talking about emotions probably for the next few weeks, because it gets deep and it's important. And we have to talk about this because we're talking about bullying versus love. And so when you're being bullied, you have to know how to handle your emotions. And so that's why this subject is important. So again, we'll be talking about it for a few weeks. Take care. Thank you for joining us. Mark said, yes, Emotions was a great group. They were.
Memphis, Tennessee, man. Memphis, Tennessee.
Right. Oh, were they from Memphis? I didn't know that. You got the best of my love. And then Flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that song.
All right, y'all. We done. We done with y'all. We done with this subject for today. We love y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. We will see y'all next week at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time right here. Take care. We send you away with peace. We send you away with love. We send you joy and happiness. Be happy. Love one another.
Be happy.
Treat others the way you want to be treated. Take care. And bye for now.
Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy.